I know that a lot of NBA fans kind of thought this was going to be a forgettable season for the Houston Rockets, a development year, tank year, whatever you want to call it. But I remember us talking about them this summer and saying not to count them out. After all, they, hired Ime Udoka and got some notable pickups, and it's starting to look like and come to fruition as the Houston Rockets, at the time of this recording, are currently 6-3, good for the fourth seed in the Western Conference, with those 3 losses being their first 3 games of the season. The Rockets are on a 6-game winning streak with notable wins over the Kings not once, but twice, and the Denver Nuggets, and a major reason for the Rockets' success is Alperen Sengun.
Agreed. I think another part of that is people kind of underestimating them. Maybe not so much going forward, but a lot of people, I feel like they looked at the Rockets and their schedule and they're like, oh, it's same old Rockets, winnable game. Even if it's on the road, we don't have to try too hard. But they're getting a really nice third-year leap from Alperen Sengun, a nice low efficiency leap from Jalen Green, and then really good production from the guys they brought in Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, and even Jeff Green as a veteran presence here and there. But specifically about Alperen Sengun, he's really taken, again, a nice third-year leap, and I don't think that many people are taking notice of it other than Rockets fans. He's putting up nearly 20 points per game at this point, 8 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game on 60% shooting from the field and, only 25% from 3, but that's really not the main part of his game. I think they'll grow and develop over time. He has a nice shooting motion, but if you look at the numbers, they look very reminiscent of a young Nikola Jokic, in my opinion. And even if you watch him play on the court, he looks a lot like a young Nikola Jokic out there again, too. Running the offense from the high post, being able to both shoot the ball and take guys in the post as well and really dominate them, even though he is a little bit smaller overall than Nikola Jokic. He's not a true 7-footer, but he's definitely long. He's got the weight too. He's wide, so he's really hard to stop down low. And that's really translating to good success down low. He's currently 4th in points per possession in the post at 1.31, and then he averages 3.8 points per game in the post overall, 7th in the entire NBA. And then not only that, but he shoots 70% from the field on post-up plays, 2nd in the entire NBA, and in the 93rd percentile of all post-up plays. Only behind Nikola Jokic there, so pretty darn impressive what he's doing right now.
Before we continue, I just wanted to take a few seconds to talk about and invite you to join our NBA Discord server. Our JSM NBA server is full of hundreds of people who love everything NBA. Do you like instant news updates around the league, NBA memes, talking stats, or even live chatting with others during games? The JSM NBA server has got you covered, plus so many more things to do and see. Come check out the JSM NBA server for free. We'd love to see you in there. The link will be in the description below. Now let's get back to the video.
Yeah, and a lot of it you wouldn't expect to be from a kid that's only 21 years old. And he makes it look really effortless. He's got great footwork down low, just to kind of reiterate what you said. And he's just really good at making the pumps, getting people to bite, spinning to his good hand, and just kind of getting that hook up there. I mean, he's super efficient. And what helps a lot, too, I think, is that Fred VanVleet is a great pick and roll orchestrator. Mm-hmm. He has quite a respectable mid-range, which means he can set up Alperen better since the defenders can't leave him. Albeit, like you said, Alperen isn't shooting the best at the 3-ball right now, but he's shooting great from the field goal percentage, and they've played some notable teams. So don't try and count them out like they haven't played any tough teams yet. They've played some really tough games, and I think that overall they're looking really good. And I think Alperen is probably the biggest factor to that right now, just because he creates so much space, for the rotating players around to shoot threes and stuff like that. So I expect him to improve more and more under the guidance of Udoka as well. And I think that a big thing for him would definitely be that 3-point shooting. And that would help create him and the other Rockets players more opportunities. And I would say that the big focus is maybe just not turn the ball over as much, but that's definitely going to come with time. And overall, like I said, he's 21 overall. That's just going to come with playing in the league more and more.
Agreed. Yeah, we definitely do need to keep in mind that we're talking about a 21-year-old, but regardless, really good third-year leap, and even though he's definitely benefited from being part of a more competitive and well-run and more well-balanced Rockets team, everything from the players around him to the head coach, I think this leap was coming regardless. It's getting a little bit more shine, even though really not that much more, with him being on a better team, but I think he would look like this in year number 3 regardless, and He's taken a huge leap pretty much everywhere. And even though, turnovers could be a little bit lower, I think, only 2.1 per game is really not that bad for a guy who's coordinating a pretty good amount of their offense. And again, it's that young too. There are not many guys in the league, especially front court players and centers specifically, who can average about 6+ assists per game while only averaging around 2 turnovers per game. That's nearly a 3 assist to turnover ratio as a center. The only guy in the league who's really capable of doing that and is doing that, even coming close to it right now, is Nikola Jokic. Domantas Sabonis a little bit further away from that, but those are probably the only 3 guys in the entire league who you can really reliably run your offense through as a center in the high post at a high volume, running your offense through them. So that's a really good outlook for his future, and definitely the Rockets' future as well. They'll be able to do a lot from not only the point of attack on offense, but in the high post, mid post, even low post with Alperen Sengun. He can dominate both from a scoring perspective and a playmaking standpoint too. He's got great vision. It's not like, guys just making really good off-ball cuts or getting open from the three-point line. He is actually passing teammates open out there too. And it's really impressive to see, and he's benefiting everyone on their offense a lot more than I think people are giving him credit for.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned just his scoring in general too. One fun fact, I don't know if you knew about this one, but when Sengun is on the court, Houston is outscoring their opponents by just about 11 points per 100 possessions. And when he's on the bench, the Rockets are getting outscored by 5.1 points per 100 possessions.
Yeah, no, that's definitely impressive. That tells you about how impactful he is on the court. And I imagine there's probably not more than 5 to 10 guys who have that plus-minus percentile difference compared to him. I mean, a lot of people talk about LeBron being at that level, Luka Doncic, but getting himself into that conversation as well is definitely noteworthy. And it's a testament to how impactful he is for their team on both ends of the court.
So my question for you is, where do you think that the Rockets could end up just with how well everyone's playing this early in the season?
I think their go-to thing is definitely going to be their defense. And if they can maintain that top 5 ranked defense like they are right now, I think they could definitely be a play-in tournament team. And like you mentioned before, we talked about that coming into this season. Nobody really, had them on their radar as even being that high. But given that they've made that their identity, their calling card, their defense, and that they have a lot more offensive firepower than people gave them credit for, with a lot of that coming from the third-year leap from guys like Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green, I think there's more room for growth here. I'm not sure they'll be able to maintain this top 5 seed rate, which I don't think is a bad thing regardless. Even if they make the play-in tournament and even win a game and make the actual playoffs, that would be huge for their trajectory as a team. They got a lot of young talent on this team, and it would definitely benefit from playoff experience. And if they can do that, I'm pretty confident in them being able to at least make the play-in tournament at this point. And that would do a lot for Alperen Sengun in particular. And given how much more they're letting him coordinate their offense and really get that experience, I think he could really be running their team in about a year or two.
No, I agree. And it's really impressive to me. We see it sometimes, but not always. But it's really impressive to me what a new kind of hard-nosed coach can do and some new players can do into rotation, kind of get out some other guys, what that can do to a maturity level of a team. And that's a prime example of what we're seeing right now. And overall, I've been extremely impressed with how Alperen Sengun has been playing, and I look forward to see what he and the Houston Rockets will do at the rest of the season.
Agreed. And I think the last thing I just kind of want to point out about Alperen Sengun is that he might not look, physically imposing, or he's not that athletic looking or really out there on the court either. But what he makes up for in athletic ability, he makes up for with his IQ and really good positioning on the court. And that really tells you a lot about who he is as a player. He understands the game. He can visualize things on the court before they happen and then make them happen. And it's really unique to get a guy like that. Again, the only other one doing stuff like that on the court at center is Nikola Jokic. And if he can come anywhere near that ceiling as a player, that will do a lot for the Rockets going forward.